What is going on, guys? Achy here, and today we are bringing you essential quests / unlocks you will be needing to get started on your one defense peer journey. With that being said, let's get right into the video. The first quest I want to mention is going to be Animal Magnetism. It has some pretty low requirements, being 18 Slayer, 19 Crafting, 30 Ranged, and 35 Woodcutting. You will also need to have completed the Restless Ghost, Ernest the Chicken, and Priest in Peril, which are all fairly easy quests. Shouldn't even need a guide for them, and they don't take long at all. But completing Animal Magnetism will unlock you the Ava's Accumulator, which will auto pick up bolts or arrows, saving you a ton of money and also giving you a little bit of a range boost. So definitely worth getting for your one defense peer. The second quest I want to mention is going to be the Waterfall quest. This will boost you instantly straight to 30 attack and strength, saving you grinding those early levels, and it's an easy quest. You could do it straight off Tutorial Island if you like. And yeah, it's kind of the bread and butter. That's like the quest everyone does. You definitely want to do it. The third quest is going to be Lost City. This quest has a little bit more requirements, being 31 crafting and 36 woodcutting, but it is definitely crucial if you plan on being a 60 attack build. This unlocks you your Dragon Dagger, which is a very strong spec weapon for one defense peers. Next up, we have Death Plateau. This quest is short and will unlock you climbing boots, which are dirt cheap and offer a decent strength bonus to help out with your one defense peer's max hit, and just overall a decent pair of boots to have for a kind of budget setup when you're starting out anyway. For this next section, it's going to be kind of a couple quests bunched together. But if you want to be a 60 attack peer, you're going to want to do Vampire Slayer for 4,825 attack experience, Tree Gnome Village for another 11k attack experience, the Grand Tree for 18,400 attack experience, a little bit of agility experience and magic experience. And you can also do Fight Arena for another 12,000 attack experience, which is going to get you to about level 45 attack depending on how much training you've done. But these quests are also prerequisites of Monkey Madness, which is a quest we're going to talk about next that is essential for your 60 attack, 1 defense peer. So with that being said, just get those quests done before you get to 60 attack, and it is going to help out a lot. Next up, we are going to talk about Monkey Madness 1. Now the quest does have 2 quest requirements, being the Grand Tree and the Tree Gnome Village, which we just talked about. But for Monkey Madness 1, if you plan on doing any sort of chinning, it's recommended not to complete the quest so that you have access to the tunnels and monkeys down there for fast range experience. But if that's something you don't want to do, there are alternative methods. You could chin at Temple Spiders. It's lower experience, but you get some of your money back. There are lots of other options for training for a peer. But with that being said, completing Monkey Madness 1 does unlock you the Dragon Skimmy, which is going to be a very strong strength training weapon for us going forward. Next up, we are going to talk about the God Books, which require the quest Horror from the Deep. All you need for Horror from the Deep is 35 agility and the completion of Alfred's Grimhand Bar Crawl, which, you know, all easy stuff. It's definitely not a big deal to get them out of the way. But completing them and getting access to the God Books is very big for the account. They offer all kinds of different stat bonuses, whether it's your range, magic, a little bit of defense if you want to be training. They offer all kinds of different stats, and they are very cheap to get now. You know, even some of the best books used to be a couple mil, now they're next to nothing. So I would highly recommend doing it. The Horror from the Deep's quest is actually very easy as well, so definitely get that done for your one defense peer. Next up, we have the Mage Arena, which is more of a mini game, but Doing it gives you access to the god spells and god staffs, being Zamorak, Sarah, and Guthix, and they are some of the strongest spells in the game still to date, so I would highly recommend getting it done. It's a fairly straightforward fight, it's nothing too crazy, and then being able to cast them in the wilderness after, you are going to need to go into the Mage Arena and cast each spell 100 times, but again, really not a big deal. You can get that done very quickly, and the capes will give you quite a big bonus to your magic attack and just having access to the spells. Afterwards, you can go ahead and start with Mage Arena 2, and by no means is it 100% necessary. I still don't have it done on my pier, but you go around the wilderness and fight powerful gods, basically in the form of Zamorak, Sarah, and Guthix. They're fairly easy, a little bit harder than the last one, but doing this will unlock you the imbued god capes, which offer a very strong magic bonus, and if you're willing to tackle that task, I'd highly recommend doing this as well. Next up, I would recommend getting Desert Treasure done. Now this one does have quite a few requirements. The skill requirements are 53 Thieving, 50 Magic, 50 Fire Making, and 10 Slayer, which isn't too bad. You can do the Verac Museum to get most of that done. And then you do also need some quests, being the Dig Site, Temple of Ikov, the Tourist Trap, Troll Stronghold, Death Plateau, which we should have done earlier, Priest in Peril, another one we should have had done, and then Waterfall quest. This is definitely probably going to be one of the harder quests you do on a 1 defense pier, but it unlocks Ancient Magic, which is very powerful for PKing. Definitely a staple in the game for a long time, and it's a lot of fun to use, so I'd highly recommend getting this done. And on top of that, it is going to unlock Ghostly Robes for you. As we just mentioned, Ghostly Robes, on top of needing Desert Treasure done, you can start it's another mini game or mini quest called Curse of the Empty Lord. You basically go around Gillianor, Galenor, go around RuneScape, and you find these different ghosts and unlock different pieces of the set. And the set itself offers you a cheap set of mage gear that has a pretty decent stat bonus. Next up is actually an achievement diary, and if you finish the Verac Easy Diary, you get yourself a Verac Armor 1, which actually does offer a little bit of defense. It's not a crazy amount, but as a 1 defense pier, it's hard to find anything with defense. So it's one of the best things you can wear that offers any sort of defense, and it's pretty easy to complete as well. Another one I wanted to talk about real quick was the Bearhead. Now, you get this by partially completing Mountain Daughter, so I didn't add it in the quest part, but it is another item that offers you defensive stats. It does give you a -3 range and magic, but the defense kind of weighs up for it. Really, again, there's not a lot of places on a 1 defense pier we can get defense, so even for like sand crabs or something like that, it just makes you a little bit more tanky, and yeah, I would recommend getting this as well. The last quest or item I wanted to talk about was getting yourself some Mythal Gloves. Now, to do so, you have to complete 5 of the subquests in Recipe for Disaster, which is, you know, a pretty tall task. It's not an insane amount of questing, but for 1 defense pier, for an account that you might not use all the time, I can understand how it's not the most desirable thing to do. But I will say that the stats it offers are very comparable to a combat bracelet. I think the combat bracelet is actually slightly better, but the Mythal Gloves cost 1,950 gold pieces. So, you know, if you're a new PKer like me, or you're going to be dying lots, that death cost does add up over time. So questing yourself some Mythal Gloves kind of be the end game thing for your pier, but that's something I would definitely recommend. And with that being said, those are all the essential quests or unlocks that I can think of to put into this video for today. If I missed any, be sure to leave them down in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.